Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for checking out this video. My name is Ray, there's one of me, and today I'm looking at the pedal effects, the expression pedal of the Boss ME-90 series. I finally made it to the end of every section this thing has to offer. It's taken almost a year for me to finally put out all these videos. After this video though, I still am going to make a video about the Tone Studio. I want to put the ME-90 through a tube amp that I bought, and there's maybe a couple other things I want to try out with the ME-90. So this won't be the end of the ME-90 series, but this is the last section of effects that is available on the ME-90 stock right out of the box. So today, yeah, like we're looking at things like wah-wah, octave, like whammy effects, everything to like weird glitchy delay, just madness kind of stuff. So I hope you guys like it. Real quick though, before we get started, I really do want to thank you all so much again for watching the videos. I got up to the 3,000 watch hours. That has unlocked the first part of becoming a YouTube member. So because of you, I'm officially a YouTube member, which is freaking awesome. I never thought that would ever happen. I've been trying to do that for years and years. And just in the last year, it's really grown. So that's all you guys. So what that does is I now can offer merch. Talking is hard. I can offer merch through my channel. I don't ever plug it enough, but if you guys want to check out my little store that's on my channel, that would really help. I go through a service called Spring, if you know spring.com. Super easy, man. Let me know if you end up doing that, like how your experience was, because if it's not good, I'll use a different company. But for now, Spring seems to work pretty well. Another thing I want to do right out of the gate too is I really want to thank my patrons. I've been kind of forgetting to do that lately. So I want to thank Chuck Johnson, Hexagon Papa, Juno Ortega, Kay Ritchie, Duke McDonald. They've been with me for a long time. They've been very supportive. I really appreciate them so very much. Honestly, guys, the only thing I ever expect, just because I make videos, doesn't mean I expect anything out of it. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not entitled to anything just because I play music and make video content and stuff. So all I could ever hope is you guys watch, comment, like. That's really the biggest thing you can do. But if you do want to take it a step further and you have the means to do so, definitely check out patreon.com/OneRayMusic. It's only $3 a month to get started. You know, I'm going to be adding some new content back to Patreon. I'm going to start shooting that hopefully this weekend. So I really want to start, you know, making the Patreon awesome again. Right now there's about 600 posts on there. So, but I want to like add some new stuff too, and I keep that going. So check it out, patreon.com. All right, that's all the thanks, and that is all the plugging I want to do. Now, for the time, the reason that you guys clicked on this video was not to hear all that. It's to check out the ME-90 effects section. We're actually going to start today. Oh, before I get started too, my effects chain, super simple, guys. I'm playing my Squier Affinity HSS Stratocaster FMT. I'm playing it straight through the Boss ME-90. The Boss ME-90 is running as an interface into my laptop, which is running Reaper, which is my DAW. So it couldn't get much simpler than that. I do have the Tone Studio pulled up on the computer. So if you see me fiddling around over here, it's because I'm actually setting things up in Tone Studio. And then I also, if I look over here, I do have a couple notes written on my music stand. So if you see me looking back and forth, that's what I'm doing. So, all right, without further ado, the first effect in the pedal effects expression pedal section is your classic, well, volume pedal. So that's how it's set as a default. And I'm actually going to start with some distortion being supplied by the, on the ME-90. Everything's coming out of the ME-90. The preamp is the natural preamp. I'm using just a little bit of the spring reverb from the ME-90. And I'm using the Boss DS1 from the overdrive distortion section of the ME-90. So I'm actually going to start with a distorted sound. Usually I start with a clean sound, but let's mix it up a bit today. And what's cool about the volume pedal, if you know, now the one thing, I'll have to try this through my tube amp because I'm hoping that the volume pedal, when I use it in a tube amp, will, you know, if you're driving a tube amp into the overdrive distortion, you can roll back on your volume and clean it up. So I'm hoping I can use the volume pedal of the ME-90 through the tube amp to do that kind of stuff, so I wouldn't have to do it on the guitar. But when you use it as like a direct, right? If you're going direct out of the ME-90, whether it's through the interface or direct into a PA desk or something, the volume pedal is just that. It's just volume. It's not gonna, if you're using a distorted sound, it's not gonna clean it up, or it's just gonna make it louder or softer. Let me show you what I mean. Right, it's just coming in and out. It's not making it cleaner or dirtier. But you can do those cool like Eddie Van Halen-esque kind of volume swell stuff. So here's the solo to my song Second Rate. I actually use a slow gear when I play it live, but you could kind of emulate that slow gear with the volume pedal by doing something kind of like this. Let's see if I can pull this off. So you kind of swell it in, right? Kind of makes it almost more violin-like. So that's a fun thing to do with the volume pedal. And you can just make it quieter. Like if you just want to be quieter, you know, with your bandmates, you can just roll it back and just be softer. Again, though, I do wish it kind of made it cleaner or dirtier, like a real volume pedal. But again, if I put it through the tube amp, it might actually do that. I haven't tried that yet. All right, let's move on now. So by default, too, if you push down on the pedal effects, the expression pedal, if you push kind of hard on it on the toe, just like a wah pedal, it turns on the first effects, which is wah. And I'm going to play the guitar solo to a song I wrote called Screwdriver that I usually use a little bit of wah on, and see what you guys think of the wah sound. It sounds like this. So definitely snarly, huh? Definitely a snarly wah sound. A lot of sweep in it. Maybe not not as maybe good as like a Dunlop or a Vox wah, but on an ME-90, the whole thing costs about $300. It's not a bad wah sound at all. I also like to use wah with a clean tone to kind of play some like funky stuff like this. Kind of get your disco on. So yeah, not a bad wah at all. Very usable. I use it all the time when I'm playing live. All right, this could be a quicker video today. We'll see. I try to keep them under an hour. This one might be under a half hour. Let's see how we do. All right, next effect is called voice. And this is a kind of a manual control over the voice effect that's in the compression effects 1. So now if I push down on the pedal, it activates that voice sound where it kind of goes through different vowels like this. So you kind of have to hunt for them. But that kind of gives you a faux talk box kind of sound. You can kind of get your Richie Sambora kind of vibe going. Again, I don't want to get a copyright claim, so I'll kind of play an approximation of some of these tunes. So you kind of get that. Or like kind of a. See what I did there? Try not to get copyright. Or like you can get your Nazareth kind of thing going, like or kind of get your Peter Frampton on. But I wish you had a little bit more control over that, but you know, it kind of gives you that faux talk box kind of sound. It's a lot of fun to mess with. All right, right on down the line. Let's go on now. Now we're getting into the whammy effects. This is where you can kind of get your Tom Morello on and do some whammy effects. I'm not really the best at this technique. Let's see if I can pull it off. The first one is you're going to, when you hit the toe, it turns on the whammy effect, the octave. And when your heel is down, it's just a normal, you know, your normal sound. But when you do the toe down, you're going to be an octave higher. So that's heel down, this is toe down. So you can kind of do that cool like whammy effect. Again, I'm not the best at that technique, but you see where I'm going for, right? You can get real trippy with that. And in between, it kind of bends the note out of tune. So you kind of have to watch your intonation. But if you're playing with a band or a backing track, it would probably be easier to listen back to make sure you're in tune. So you can go one octave. So I mean, if I did like a guitar solo, you could do a cool thing like where you end your guitar solo. Like say I play this one. You know, and at the end you can just add that. Oh man, that's a little high for me to sing this morning. All right, let's go on now. You can go up 2 octaves, which I am not going to attempt to sing. Don't worry about that. So now instead of going up 1 octave, when you put the toe down, you go up 2. So here's the normal note, and then you go up 2 octaves. You really have to make sure you're heel down and toe down to really get it in tune. So this is even more like the Tom Morello thing. Yeah, it kind of goes all over the place with the pitch though, doesn't it? But you can have a lot of fun with the whammy effects. All right, so up an octave, up 2 octaves, or you can go the other direction. And now you can go down an octave. This is kind of, you're going from Tom Morello now to like Jack White. This is, I always liked doing this one back in the day. So here's your normal pitch. Then now when you put the toe down, it's going to be an octave lower. So you can kind of do, again, I don't want to get a copyright, so I'll approximate a White Stripes song, but you can kind of do this whole thing. So you can go. You know what I'm trying to go for there, right? So if you do the toe down, you're kind of in like a faux bass. So yeah, definitely get your White Stripes on with that. And just like the octave up, 2 octaves up, you can go an octave down or 2 octaves down, like this. Now you can kind of get your Dan Auerbach. I love how I can come up with an artist for all these different sounds. He did not use a whammy pedal, Dan Auerbach, from the, we're going from the White Stripes to the Black Keys now. He didn't use a whammy pedal. He used actually the S-bend type thing that's in the ME-90 also. But you can kind of get that same effect. Again, I'll try to play an approximation of this song so I don't get a copyright claim, but he does this kind of thing with the 2 octaves lower. So here's the regular note to start with. Here's like a G. And then here's it 2 octaves lower. I mean, it gets to a point where it's like almost subhuman hearing. So you really can get a dive bomb sound without throwing your guitar out of tune, which is nice. But you kind of get this kind of thing like. You can see what I'm going for again, right? So that's a lot of fun too. And you can kind of have a little bit more control. When you use the S-bend, you have to use the parameters to set how fast or slow and what octave you go down to. This one is all manual control. Use it, well, foot control. Ha, see what I did there? You can use the foot control to really do it manually. Fun for days, man. Just be careful though, if you do put any octave effects, especially the low octaves through an amp, really be careful you're not blowing out your amp, especially if you have a tube amp. So definitely be mindful of that kind of stuff when you're playing through an amp so you're not blowing anything out. All right, like I said, this is gonna go kind of quick. This is probably one of my favorites. It's called the Freeze. And it's kind of like the Electro Harmonics Freeze, if you've ever seen that video, where Mike Matthews, he takes the freeze out of the freezer, like he's got his big, hey, dig this, and he's got like the cigar, and he takes the freeze out of the freezer. It's that effect in the ME-90. I use this effect a lot at the end of a show, because again, I play solo shows where I do a one-man band, live looping and all that stuff. So it's not like I have a band that can do like the big, ending at the end. So what I do at the end of my shows a lot is I'll hit a chord, like say I'll hit a C chord, and then I'll solo over it using the freeze to kind of emulate having a band behind me. So if I play a C chord, see, it freezes that chord, and now it's just going, so I can solo over it. And then I can change the chord. Thank you guys, good night. And then when you put the heel down, it turns off. So I love ending a show that way, and it kind of does usually get a pretty good response. The Freeze, man, fun for days. You could practice that way. Like you can practice scales. Doing all kinds of weird modal stuff there. Or minor, or you could do, yeah, you could do like your Dorian. I'm too stupid to remember my scales right off the top of my head. That was not Dorian. That was more like an Aeolian. And it doesn't really work over a G major chord either. I know I swear I know my theory. All right, and lastly, I think the last one that you can use, oh no. All right, this one is, I think I'm getting ahead of myself, my friends. Sorry about that. Freeze. All right, this is the oscillating delay. I was trying to use this one the other day. Oh, it does that thing, okay. That's always fun. That's actually a fun thing you could do at the end of a set too. Like say like you're at the end of the gig and you just want it to sound like an explosion. You could do it with this oscillating delay effect. So like say you end on like a D chord. You're doing that shit. All of a sudden you go. And just kind of make it explode. That would be a fun way to like kind of have that sound without destroying your guitar at the end of the night. So that's what I feel like oscillating delay. That's what I like to use it for. All right. It's almost like when you use a real, like a delay pedal and you kind of screw around with the knobs, but you're doing it with a foot control instead. All right, down the line. This one's fun. Remember I said I wish that the volume pedal controlled how much overdrive or distortion there was. I think through a tube amp it would work that way, but unless you put it on this setting, this is the ODDS setting. So on this setting, I believe, when you have the toe down, you're at your maximum gain. And as you put the heel down, it should get cleaner. Let me mess with the setting in the distortion. Let me put the drive like way up to like 85. So here's the at full, and then here's with the heel down. Yeah, it does get a little dirtier. So when your heel's down, it's a little bit cleaner, but not really a whole lot. It's still very distorted. And then if you put the toe down, it should be even dirtier. So you can kind of control how much distortion you have, which that might be handy if you have the heel down, like for a rhythm part. And then put the toe down for a solo. And you can just add more distortion as you go. I'm very grateful for the warmer temperatures, by the way, but it really makes my little office slash makeshift studio so hot, especially under my lights here. Whew. If I ever was able to build a proper studio, this is something you probably wouldn't think about when you're building a studio, is proper air conditioning, where it's like very quiet so it doesn't pick up on the mics or anything, but you also don't die when you're trying to record, and it's a lot more comfortable. That's what I wish I could have if I had ever had my own studio. All right, let me roll the distortion back to 40. It's a more livable amount. I don't always use tons of gain myself. All right, back to the pedal. Here it is. All right, next, you can do the same thing with modulation. So let me throw like a chorus on. Let me turn the overdrive off. Let's set up a good modulation sound. I'll just use the chorus. And actually, I'm going to put the rate pretty high and everything else around 50. And what this should do is you should be able to change how fast the rate is using the pedal. So it should start off like a normal chorus. Oh, and then it gets very, very quick as you go. Like almost like when you're playing an organ and you hit the Leslie speaker and it turns the speaker on. So here's like kind of with the heel down. And then if you go kind of in the middle, you get more of a, you know, you slow it down a little bit. And quicken it. Maybe I'll roll the rate back a little bit because that gets a little kind of unmanageable. Let me roll back to like in the 60s so it doesn't get too crazy when I put the toe down. That's cool. So you can almost have like a non-chorusy sound. And then add it on the tail of a note, like. You know, that's the fun thing about the ME-90 is that like, you really have to mess with it. You really have to kind of get in the weeds with it. And you might find some cool tricks that you never knew you could ever do. I'm still learning how to use it myself. So that would be maybe a fun one for me to try to learn a little better and maybe even write some songs using the modulation control. That'd be a lot of fun. All right. Now, delay level. So you can control how much delay you have. So let me set the delay up. I think it controls. I think it controls the level. Yeah, delay level. That's what it says. Sorry, I should just read what it says. So let me turn the delay on. Mod off. All right. So there's the level with the heel down. But when I put the toe down, it should make more of a delay level. Okay, I see. You barely hear the delay there. Then when you put the toe down, you hear it a lot. And so you could be, let me put some distortion on with that. So you could be like kind of. So you can kind of decide when you want the the delay to come in and when you don't. So you could be playing very dry. So you can kind of bring the delay in and out. Again, this is something I would really have to mess with. But that's kind of a rad little feature. I don't know, you'd have to mess with that. So you can control the delay level with the expression pedal. Whew, I am a sweaty man here. All right, back to the pedal effect. And that's all of them right there, wow. Now again, and actually, yes, that is all of them. A lot of times when you use the Tone Studio, you get some extra ones built in, but with the pedal expression, the expression pedal effects, you just get the amount that are on the device. So again though, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It always goes to 11, right? I should know better. So 11 different expression pedal sounds and parameters you can control with your feet. So there you go, guys. I told you this would be a little bit shorter. I wasn't trying to rush through by any means. Some of these things, like, it's not like they're not as involved as some of the other effects where I have to control these different parameters. The parameters are really just controlled with your foot. So guys, thank you so very much again. I really hope you've been enjoying the ME-90 series. Your comments have always been so sweet, so supportive. Like, I'm 99.999% of my comments have been nothing but awesome and very supportive. So thank you guys so very much again. Please consider Patreon. You don't have to, but if you want to take it a step further, $3 a month. I do have a $15 a month tier too, where I do like Zoom calls and we kind of hang out through Zoom. Again, it's only if you're interested. Definitely the only thing I hope that you can do is watch the videos. You know, let's get up to that 4,000 watch hours so I can finally get some AdSense. YouTube's already putting ads on my videos. I don't get paid for them, so it'd be so cool that those ads that are already on my videos that I can actually maybe see a couple bucks. That'd be really cool. And also, I'm putting this out in the universe. They say you can manifest things. I don't know if I buy it, but maybe if this happens, I might start buying it. Let's go for 10,000 subscribers. I'm almost at 2,000. And I know, I've heard that at 10,000 subscribers, YouTube will really start to push your channel more. I want to see if that's true, honestly. And also, it'd just be cool to have you guys on board. So if you're watching these videos and you're not subscribed, hit subscribe, ring the bell. You know, leave some messages. I've even had people email me directly, oneraymusic@gmail.com, and I've talked to you through email too. It's really cool. I love the conversations, talking gear. So I love it, guys. Thank you so much. And I'll be back soon with some more videos. Thank you so much. I can't even talk, man, but I appreciate it. So nonetheless, have a good night, guys. I'll see you. Take care. Bye.